So I run into a friend of mine. He tells me that he obviously knows what I do. He asked about my business. And then, he mentions that he doesn't really like handguns. He doesn't like to carry them because he's afraid of them. He didn't grow up around them or anything like that, and he just has a fear for them. And so obviously he doesn't conceal carry. He has some shotguns. He quail hunts and he dove hunts, but he doesn't obviously own a handgun because he's kind of afraid of them. So, I get it, guys. Maybe you went through some traumatic experience. He didn't. He never did. He just doesn't understand them, right? But handguns are fairly safe tools in the right hands. If you know your gun safety rules, if you understand the gun and if you respect it and you treat it well, you're gonna be fine, man. A bandsaw can take off a couple of fingers if you're not careful. A handgun can, blow off a couple of fingers if you're not careful. So it's all about just common sense safety rules. It's basically what it is. They're just common sense. Now, go out there, know your gun safety rules, and go out there and take a course or go to the range and fire it and shoot it and know how it feels in your hand and know how to manipulate it if you have to. Safety, removing the magazine. If you're running a light, know that the gun has to be clear and safe before you try to take off the light. Just stuff like that. I mean, it's just common sense rules, safety rules. But just because you know them by textbook doesn't mean that you can go out there and be super safe. You're gonna have to go out there. You're gonna have to go to the range. You're gonna have to start concealed carrying the way I am right now. And I know even though I'm in my own home, I'm on the backyard and I just put it on because I like walking around and I just want to be safe all the time. I'm not paranoid. I'm not, I don't have a itchy trigger finger or anything like that. I'm not anxious to use my gun. I hope I never have to use my gun. But it's just in my nature. It allows me to conceal carry on a daily basis, and it allows me to conceal carry consistently when I just carry it with me, even if I go to the backyard and I'm doing something. I just read an article where a guy was in his garage and he had his garage open. He was working in his garage. 2 thugs came in and tried to rob him. This guy was concealed carrying in his garage, man. He pulls out his gun because they had guns. They pull out their guns, and I don't know how he did it, but he pulled out his, shot one in the hip. I think one of them had the gun, the guy that he shot, and the other one just took off. And this just happened like a month ago. I think it was in Ohio or something like that. But guys, things can happen in an instant. They can happen quick. And so, going back to my buddy saying that he doesn't like guns, that's fine, man. If you're not comfortable around guns, if you had a traumatic experience, then it's going to be up to you. It really is your prerogative if you want to conceal carry or not. But if you've been thinking about concealed carrying, and if you've been wanting to conceal carry, the time is now, man. I mean, this guy wasn't saving his own garage. Now I get it. Well, that's never going to happen to me because I live here, or I live in a gated community, or whatever the case is. We don't have people walking our streets at night, and this wasn't even at night. I think it happened during the day. But guys, trouble will find you, and it can find you anywhere. It can find you anywhere. And going back to my friend saying that he's not comfortable around guns. This guy rides bikes, man. He has a motorcycle, and so for me, it's like one of the reasons I never bought a motorcycle is because I don't trust myself on a motorcycle. I barely trust myself in my Hellcat. Not really. I trust myself. I'm a controlled individual when it comes to that. But there's a lot of things out there that can do harm and that can cause danger. And I feel if you can learn how to ride a bike, a motorcycle, then I think you'll be able to handle a handgun. But again, look, I didn't stand there and tell him like, no, man, you should, or you should get over that fear. Obviously, if he would have asked me, I would have encouraged him to do it. But look, it is what it is. To each their own, like I said. But if you've been thinking about concealed carrying and you've been wanting to conceal carry, the time is now, guys. The time is now, man. Again, I did a Google search online, and I started searching, I don't know what it was. I think it was just like gun news or concealed carry news. And you can do that, and you'll see a lot of articles where people being at home. I read another one where someone just knocked on his door and he was looking for a girl, and obviously he had the wrong house. The guy got crazy upset thinking that he did have the right house. This guy closes the door. He kicks in the door while he's on the phone calling 911, takes out his gun and takes him down, man, because the guy was being a threat. He ran inside this guy's house and started threatening him. And the guy had to take him out. He had to take him out. He had his kids in the house as well. So, and that's not really concealed carrying. That's basically just he had a gun in the house. But this stuff happens all the time, guys. And look, I'm not a pessimistic guy. I'm not one of these guys that, oh, the sky's falling. I'm not that type of guy. I'm not here trying to scare you into concealed carry. I'm not. But there is danger out there, and there is a sense of you having to protect yourself when you go out there. There is. I mean, you cannot ignore that. You just really can't. And so, I just really wanted to sit down or stand here and talk to you about concealed carry because I think it's super important. And I've said it before, guys, and I'll talk about it until I'm blue in the face, but the time is now, man. If you've been wanting to conceal carry, the time is now. The time is now. Somebody DM'd me a couple of days ago and they said, yeah, you make it sound like I don't love my family because you're always talking about you conceal carry because of your family. Well, I don't conceal carry. Does it mean that I love my family less? And I told him, no, man, it doesn't. But at the same time, do you make your children put on their seatbelts in their car or in the car? Yeah, you do. Why? Because you care for their safety, right? You don't want to get into an accident, and you don't want to be responsible for your child being hurt because you didn't teach them the proper safety of being in a car. Now, whether seatbelt laws are, I don't even know if they're 100% in the United States, where I think every state you have to wear a seatbelt. I'm not sure, but I'm assuming it is. I didn't read that. I didn't look that up. But people do it because it's the law. I get it. But people also do it because they love their children. At the end of the day, you care about your children. I've taught my children how to put on their seatbelts before the car is even out of the driveway. As a matter of fact, today we were driving home and my daughter, she was reading a book in the back, and we have a long SUV. And she was in the back and she started feeling a little woozy and nauseated. So I told her to move to the front. We're at a stoplight and she said, no, Dad, I'm not going to take off my seatbelt, but I feel like throwing up. And, I convinced her to take it off and she moved to the front and she was good. But, I teach my children to put on their seatbelts because I don't want them to get injured. And I teach myself to conceal carry because I don't want them to get hurt. That's it. Do I love my children more than my neighbor that doesn't conceal carry? Look, man, I'm not here to pass judgment on who loves their children more. Of course not, man, because we all fall short, right? I mean, look, we may be good at one thing and we may have, skills to do certain things and strengths in certain things, and we lack in other things. I get it. We're all different. But, one thing that I don't lack on is concealed carry. And it's not that I was born with it. A lot of times skills, you're born with certain skills and you're good at sitting down and, doing whatever it is with your children because it just flows natural. And some men have a different or a harder time in doing certain things. I wasn't born to conceal carry naturally. Conceal carry is not a natural thing. I mean, you put on a gun, it's, a fully loaded Glock 19 is almost 2 pounds, man. You put on 2 pounds on your belt, you're going to feel it, man. There's no way around that. And so, guys, it's unnatural. I get it, but for the sake of your life and for the sake of your children, are you going to go out there and are you going to start concealed carrying and put your comfort aside for their safety? Maybe. I know people that can't wear a seatbelt and they'll put it behind them and they'll just put their lap belt on and they'll put the shoulder behind them because they just don't like the feeling of that shoulder seatbelt on their front body, on their shoulder. They don't like it. But that's not the safest way to put on a seatbelt. But again, look, guys, to each their own. At the end of the day, are you going to do it or not? Do you love yourself? Do you love your children more because you do or you do not? Look, I'm not here to say that. All I'm saying is that we all have choices and we all make choices on a daily basis. And I choose to conceal carry just in case something bad happens And, I have a tool in my hand that I can use as leverage to take an outcome and turn it good for us and not fall on the bad side of a statistic. I've said this before, guys. And so I just really wanted to share that with you. If you're not comfortable with guns, you can get comfortable with guns. You can. If you're not comfortable concealed carrying, you can get comfortable. It's an acquired taste, I get it, but you can. It's up to you though. Do you really want it or do you don't? You can sit there and you can stand there and make excuses all day, but at the end of the day, are you safe? And are the people around you safe? That's it. And then we can get into the whole training and all that. Do you know what to do if somebody, comes at you? I also saw an article today. I read a bunch of articles today. I saw an article where a concealed carry guy takes out his gun and he gets shot, man, because I think he was facing down two guys that already had guns. They were brandishing guns already. And I don't know if this guy tried to beat him with a quick draw. I didn't read the whole article, but I did see that he got shot and he was fatally shot. So do you know what to do in a situation? Just because you conceal carry, is it your duty to go out there and save each and every one of them? Is it your duty to be a superhero and go out there and be like Superman and just go out there and save people? Or is it your duty to only just protect you and the people that are around you, your family, your friends? That's going to be up to you, man. You got to know your state laws as well. Know your state laws, know your local laws, do your due diligence. But at the end of the day, I can't stand here and say, well, if that would have happened, this is what I would have done, and I would have done this and that. Monday morning quarterbacks, look, hindsight is 20/20. I get it. We all get it. But what are you going to do? But know one thing, that you do have a tool. If you choose and decide to do something, you do have a tool that you can use as leverage against the bad guy, again, like I said earlier, so that you don't end up on the wrong side of a statistic. Guys, I just really wanted to share this. I really felt that I needed to say this, guys, and share this with you. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for spending your time here at the Bravo Audio Show. Obviously, this is for a podcast. But, if you're watching this on IGTV or on YouTube, I really appreciate it, guys. I get these thoughts. DM me, guys. If you have any questions, please DM me. If you have any concerns, DM me. I really want to take some of those questions that I get and use them in podcasts like this, because I really feel that I need to share the things that I've gone through, my experiences. I've been concealed carrying for almost 10 years consistently every day. Guys, every day. This ain't no joke, man. Every day, everywhere I go, I take my gun with me. Where I can go. For the most part, it's everywhere, especially here in Texas. But I conceal carry on a daily basis, and I just want to share my experiences and my thoughts with you. Does it make me number one right all the time? No, of course not. But they're my opinions, and they're the things that I ground myself on, and I just want to share them with you guys. So, take it for what it is. I hope this speaks to somebody out there, and if you know somebody that feels that they need to hear this, share it with them as well. And DM me, man. Leave a comment on my DM on Instagram. I read them all. I go through them. And if you have any questions, let me know. If you want me to talk about a certain subject that I feel I'm comfortable talking about, let me know as well on the DM. Guys, thanks for your time. I'll talk to you guys soon.